Welcome to today's edition of Tim in the Truck, and we are here in the parking lot of the East Wareham Home Depot. Why? I don't know. It's as good a place as any. And today I want to talk about Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. Appeared on a podcast on Tuesday with Rich Eisen, where he addressed the question asked by Eisen if the NFL had been testing footballs this season to see if they lost PSI in conjunction with what the Patriots were claiming last year following the AFC Championship game, what's become known throughout the football world as Deflategate. I hate even saying that term. But the Patriots, of course, claim that the reason why that the footballs were below the threshold of 12.5 PSI is because of the ideal gas law, and that by being outside in those temperatures caused them to lose some air pressure. They had them on the low end that tested okay when the officials tested them, and then because of atmospheric pressure and all that stuff, I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the ideal gas law, but because of that, it caused the ball to lose air pressure and fall below the threshold. So Roger Goodell told Rich Eisen that the NFL had been spot checking some of the footballs this season. They didn't test every ball before every game, during every game, and after every game to really collect a scientific basis, a scientific database of all of these PSIs, which would have been the right way to do it. Instead, what they decided to do is they tried to do what they called a deterrent. So by spot checking here and there, you never knew when the NFL was going to test the ball. So if you were trying to mess with the PSI, then you never knew if they were actually going to come in and test it. So some people still might try, and then that might give them some non-compliant balls. But according to Goodell, all of the balls they checked all year long were fine. There were no violations, is what Goodell said. That was his terminology. There were no violations. Well, what does that mean, Roger? Does that mean that there was nobody trying to intentionally alter the PSI of a game ball? Or does that just mean that you didn't catch anybody doing so? Or does it mean that there were no variations in the PSI from the beginning of a game to the middle of the game to the end of the game? Goodell gave no explanation, and of course Rich Eisen didn't ask any pertinent follow-up questions to that because he's just there to basically give the commissioner his say. That's what happens when you work for the NFL Network. But the discussion that needs to be had is, Roger, where are the figures from that? Where is the data that backs up what you're saying? Are we just supposed to take the NFL commissioner at his word when he tells us, all the footballs were fine? Every football that we tested was perfectly fine. Only the ones that the Patriots manipulated were a problem. So, Roger, if that's the data that you're trying to explain to us, then why not just show us those numbers? Because it's probably a twofold situation. Either one, there were no violations, as in there were no balls that they found below the right PSI because they didn't actually test them. Or the other possibility is they do have the numbers that account for the ideal gas law, but that the NFL is now taking the ideal gas law into account when they are checking these numbers, which is what they did not do with the New England Patriots. So the bottom line is, you really can't prove that the Patriots did anything wrong by not showing us the information that would be needed to do so. And it's going to come down to whether or not Robert Kraft actually tries to do anything here. His window of opportunity passed on being able to fight the punishment that Roger Goodell handed down last year, the loss of a first-round and a fourth-round draft pick in this upcoming draft, as well as a $1 million fine. But maybe if Kraft makes enough noise, maybe something can happen. Maybe there can be some sort of compensation given back to the team. I don't know. The biggest problem here is that the New England fans feel as if Kraft didn't do enough to fight for them and to fight for the organization and to fight against the tyranny of Roger Goodell in the NFL. So maybe just coming out and making some kind of a statement of, Roger, I want to see the proof, would be enough to satiate some of the fan base, especially one that's now reeling from the fact that they expected their team to be playing in San Francisco coming up this Sunday. So that's my take in the car. Tim's taking the truck. that'll do it for today. Be sure to check out, I'm going to try and do these every day, or at least as often as I can. So follow along with them and share them, and be sure to use the hashtag TimInTheTruck. All right, so take it easy. See you on down the road.